Welcome to today's Be the Change show. Today I have a wonderful guest. The other side of the screen, while you guys are joining, I'll just say hi to her. Hi, Vandana Joshil. How are you?
I'm fine. Thank you so much, Jyoti. Thank you for having me here. And I'm looking forward to a very insightful and interesting conversation with you.
Of course, it's going to be very insightful because today's topic is really the need of the hour. At present, most of the people are having these issues more than anything else. So, Vandana Joshil is the MD of Lajja and Lajja TV, India's first forum giving a woman for non-judgmental space to share, learn, and grow personally and professionally. So she's into this, of telling. Storytelling is her key thing, and also she's a content writer. So tell me something, Vandana. What is that
Yes.
one thing which changed to you during this process of pandemic days? This 1 year has brought a lot of changes to us. So what was that one change in you?
The one change in me was, the change happened when I myself was hospitalized. And, lying on that hospital bed, realizing that there were so many other patients out there who were in a far worse condition than I was, and yet they were being, refused admissions because the hospitals did not have enough beds, the doctors were getting tired. So that one instance when I was standing by the window and actually saw an ambulance being driven in, being stopped at the gates because the hospital did not have beds, and then the ambulance being driven off again to some other hospital, that is when I realized that we take life for granted, we take so many things for granted, and it could all just go away with something as simple as a virus which starts off with a cough or a cold or a fever. We tend to overlook all of these. That
Absolutely,
kind of
absolutely.
changed for me.
Yeah, that I think is a very terrifying thing. So when was this, Vandana? It was during the first phase or this phase? When was
No,
this?
it was during the second phase, the second wave that came in. My entire family was down with COVID, and I was, basically looking after them. So I think as a caretaker and as a homemaker, as the woman in the house, you tend to look after everybody else, and you don't really look after yourself. And by the time the family, recouped and they looked at me, they realized that I was in a real bad condition. And
Oh,
so I had to be admitted, and like I said, I was one of the privileged few, one of the lucky few who got a bed, who got into
okay.
a hospital at the right time, who got the necessary care at the right time. And I'm just thankful for all those people who helped, all those, maybe the good karma that I had done somewhere sometime. So it was during the second phase, and it's been just a couple of, I think, two weeks since I've been out of the hospital, so it's not too far back.
That's really, really, I mean, I don't have words to talk to you because I can really relate when you're telling it how difficult it is because earlier in the first COVID, it was just very far, somewhere someone has got. Now
Absolutely.
it's like, the next door person has got it, and we feel very, and relatives of us, we're always in a panic situation. So when you
Absolutely.
were admitted in the hospital, I just want to know, how did you feel? Were you panicking a lot? What was your going in your mind? Because most of the cases, what we see in COVID now, is more, along with the COVID, it is more of a cardiac arrest. That's been the
Yes.
survey now. So because
Yes.
of the panic which people have got, which was not in the first phase, because
Yes.
now the people have got a lot of panic, whether it is the fear or whatever. So what was that going in your mind during that phase?
Honestly speaking, while I was in hospital, I never really, I was not panicking. I was, because thankfully my oxygen levels were, in the 20s, 97, 98 range. So I was not panicking so much. But lying there in hospital, I had pneumonia, which is why I had to be admitted. But lying there in hospital and, looking at the patients on either side, and they were young boys, we were, since they were not segregating as per gender, and they were segregating as per COVID suspected cases, COVID cases, the severity of the cases. So I was in a
Got it.
ward which had which had five other males, and two of them were very young boys in that early 20s. And I remember every time the nurse would come and say, "Why are you scared? Don't be scared. Your parents are scared. You have to let fear go." And that is when I realized, like, I have two small kids, my elder one is just 10 years old. That is when I realized that actually, if something did happen to me, what would happen to them? and
Absolutely.
and like I told you, this incident when I saw the ambulance coming in and the patient being driven out, the family of that patient who stood outside the gate crying and pleading with the doctors to admit the patient, that is when I thought that you know there is so much, a sense of hopelessness, a sense of helplessness. You really can't do anything. You really are stuck in a place where you really don't know what to do, and whether help will arrive at the next stage. That is when I realized that I am sitting here lying in bed, not very scared, but there are these young boys, they're just starting their lives. I'm in my 40s, so I've seen a little bit of life. But still, if something were to happen to me, what would happen to my children? That
Absolutely.
sense of fear started building. And there were times when it would get really claustrophobic, and I would sit up in bed because I would feel breathless, and the nurse would come and check my pulse and my oxygen levels, and she'd say, "Ma'am, you're okay. Why are you worrying?" That is when I started to sit up and realize and take note, look within myself, and try to explain or compartmentalize my feelings, and try to explain stuff to myself. And then I thought, maybe this is what the world also needs to know. How do you compartmentalize? How do you try and understand the situation even when you're helpless?
No, Vandana, as you said, it's that how you were able to handle it. You also understand it is a fear which is causing you to panic, and it is not actually the physical but the mental state of your mind.
Yes,
Why
yes,
is that? Now the people are panicking a lot. Now the present situation. Why is that the panic has increased drastically more than the last COVID? Because the COVID anyways is the COVID. It is not a new variant. It's the same thing. But when
yes,
it comes to panic and the kind of people getting strokes along with COVID, why is that? What is happening? Wow. We were fortunate
yes.
to understand it, but everybody can't do it. What should one do?
The one reason why this second wave is causing so much panic is, like you earlier said, that in the first wave we used to only listen to stories of somebody somewhere had COVID. These were statistics in the newspaper, these were stories which are coming out in the media. This
Correct.
time the variant has mutated, it has come closer home, because once the lockdown ended and people who were not affected by it, suddenly somewhere, it's like throwing caution to wind. Dekha jayega kind of attitude. There are
Yes,
people
very
out in the markets not using masks, there are people not sanitizing themselves. I remember in the first wave, when I would go out of the house, as soon as I came in, the first thing I would do is go to the bathroom to have a bath. But maybe
correct.
now I'm a little bit more relaxed. I didn't do that. I would come home and sanitize my hands and all of that, but I wouldn't bother to really change, because who would bother? I mean, I didn't touch anybody. So that kind of a carelessness, when that sets in, that is one of the reason. And the other reason for this panic is because now it is happening closer home. It's not just about some statistic in the newspaper, but it is about your neighbor having it, somebody in your family having it. And this time around, people are not being able to overcome it. We have, I mean, if you anybody who's been using Facebook or WhatsApp or even just checking news, you open Facebook in the morning, it's like going through an obituary, because somebody
Absolutely.
or the other in your known circle, somebody of theirs has died, somebody close to you has died. You open WhatsApp, that's all you see. Like I said, it reads like an obituary now. And that it could happen to me, and the fact that nowadays the deaths are mostly young, you know young teens. So there is no real no, there's no explanation. Like I told you, nobody can tell you that, okay, if you're 45 plus or you're 60 plus and you get COVID, then your chance of survival is bleak. No, it's
Mhm.
happening to 24-year-olds, 20-year-olds, 18-year-olds. So this panic is because of that. And also, of course, the medical reasons, where they say the medication that is given during COVID kind of tends to thicken your blood, and because of that, you have clots, and which leads to cardiac arrest and things like that. But that's the medical
Mhm.
side. The medical side aside, psychologically, it is a lot with
Mhm.
knowing that your neighbor is having it. This is now a reality. We are not just watching a game, we are actually in the game.
Actually, very, very true, very true. That I think initially it was a havoc created, that by the social media and also by the news channels, that so much, so much, so much, and people started to panic. What happens if I don't get bed? If I don't get oxygen? If I don't get
Yes.
this? If I don't get good doctor? So all this, I think, it created a lot of thing, and that's why even if you check the patients, their pulse and their whatever oxygen level is, even though they are normal, still they get panic attacks at home or at the hospitals. I
Yes.
think
Yes.
that's constantly been increasing, because I've been checking with lots and lots of many pulmonologists whom I've personally interviewed also. They're also saying the same thing, is that your mental health also is very important. So I think we talk
Absolutely.
about this in the process. Tell me something, Vandana. How did you started this channel of Lajja TV? When this start, and what is this all about?
Okay. This is my pet topic, and I'll tell you. Lajja was started in 2014 by a
Mhm.
guest that you have interviewed, Riddhi Doshi Patel. And
Okay.
so Lajja was started by Riddhi in 2014. And it was
Mhm.
started basically with the understanding that, it is women who are, if Riddhi used to run, still runs an academy called Rinse Academy, which works with the youth, training them, building their personalities, developing it, and all of that. But then what she
Correct.
realized is, it is the mother, the child learns from the mother. And if the mother
Mhm.
herself is not empowered, or mother herself doesn't value herself much, what is the child going to learn? So we
Absolutely.
started Lajja with the basic concept that we are going to help women look within themselves, find that shine or that spark within themselves, and help them grow. Let them, whether they want to be homemakers, you can be homemakers, you can be career women, whatever you want to be, but it has to be something that you want to be as a woman.
Okay.
Whether I'm a content writer, I'm doing content writing because I love it. I'm a storyteller because I love telling stories. I'm a writer because I love writing. But that doesn't necessarily mean that I've forgotten my family and my responsibilities. I handle that just as well as I do this. So the idea
Correct.
of Lajja was that we tell women that you are good if you are looking at yourself through those eyes. You look at other women and you think, oh my God, you look at Shushmita Sen and you say, oh, she's such an empowered woman. But she's an empowered woman because she wanted to be an empowered woman. So the same
Okay.
applies to you. If you work on yourself, if you have skills, like if you love to make crochet and you're making crochet stuff, why don't you work on that? Learn a little bit more on crochet and maybe start selling your products. At least you'll be financially
Absolutely.
independent. So that
Very
is
true.
how Lajja started. And when every time, with Lajja, we realized that we needed to bring women who inspire forward. So Lajja TV is a segment where, we interview women influencers. We will interview women who have made a difference in their own lives and in those lives of people around them. And we basically introduce them to the world. So anybody who's watching has inspiration in front of them, and the person who's talking feels good about the fact that, yes, I've been able to make a difference to the people who are listening to me. So that is how was what we do at Lajja TV. At Lajja, of course, we have workshops, we have seminars, we have training sessions all throughout the year, all throughout the month. We have chapters in Mumbai, Delhi, Pune, Ahmedabad, uh, Hyderabad also, actually. So that's what we do, help women find their inner spark and shine.
Wonderful, wonderful, and very nice that people who are watching the show now and who will watch it later, because I have a lot of audiences pan India, and also a couple of audiences in Australia and more in US. So to watch her channel, which brings about the women of today in India. So we'll be linking the her channel to this. I've already written in the description, but I also link the YouTube channel link also. So Vandana, while coming back to thing, so today's topic is on a very interesting topic. The topic which you proposed, and I felt that that is the need of the hour, is very very interesting topic. Taking the negative out of the word positive. First of all, what does that mean? So,
Okay.
because you go into the detail, taking the negative out of the positive. Tell
Okay.
something.
So, yes. So, I'll tell you why I thought of this topic. Like I told you, when I was in hospital, well wishers were calling up, people were messaging, and because they didn't want me to stress myself talking too much, we would be on WhatsApp most of the time. And I remember one conversation where a friend, my school group said, Vandana, be positive and come out of the hospital. And immediately there were four other people writing, no, no, she shouldn't be positive. She has to be negative. Only then will she come out. And that is when I realized that, this word positive had so much of vibrant energy with it. There was so much of hope. This is a word tied with hope. This is a word tied with being happy. And suddenly, in all over the world, the word positive brings with it so much negative connotation. If you say I'm positive, nobody, if today you just randomly walk into a room and say I'm positive, I'm sure people are going to leave the room because they're going to
Leave
think you
the
are positive with
room.
exactly. So I realized that suddenly there is the word positive suddenly has been, it's like somebody has thrown muck on it and it's sitting there in, all that muck and nobody wants to touch it. So that's when I realized that I think it's very important for us to take the negative connotation that we have now associated with the word positive and get it out. People need to
Okay.
understand that positive is not just COVID positive or corona positive. Positive means the state of mind that you are in, where you look forward to. And I think once you're in that positive state of mind, that is when you can beat COVID also. When you're hopeful, you're willing, you're looking forward to the future, you're looking forward with hope, and you want something good to happen out of life. There are so many people who talk about manifestation. You have to manifest health for yourself now. You have to manifest good health, and that will happen only when you stop looking at the word positive with a negative connotation.
Very nice. Very nicely explained. See, it's as you said, that's how it should. People should manifest health. Earlier, we used to manifest that I want a house, I want a car, I want this, that. Now it is all about health. Now,
Yes, absolutely.
what was that kind of changes which you brought in your channel also after this phase of COVID? What was the change? What you have included new in your channel?
See, what we realized during this COVID, from the start, during the first phase of the lockdown, COVID and lockdown, what we dealt with is a lot of domestic violence. A lot of women, like we said that, like we earlier discussed, COVID cases were not happening in your homes; they were happening to some people outside of your realm. But what was happening to you as a reality was that you were stuck in home with your husband, with your in-laws. You didn't have an outlet. You couldn't go to the market. You couldn't go anywhere else. So we had a lot of women facing domestic abuse reaching out to us. Saying my husband is beating me, or he's emotionally, abusing me, or verbally abusing me, whatever. So during the first phase, I think we dealt with a lot of those cases, and we helped a lot of women overcome that. Either talk to the husband, or help give her, counseling, or give her professional help, or worse come to worse, we take her to the police station and file a case against her husband. That was during
Correct.
the first phase. During the second phase, what we realized is since these cases are coming closer home, people were giving up hope. People were fearful. And what people really needed was a lot of healing, a lot of positive influence, a lot of positive talk. So we started bringing in every Sunday, we have a healing session on Laja, where we have healers from across the country come together and It could be as simple as chanting on one Sunday, or maybe going through numerology on the other Sunday, or talking about astrology, or just group prayers. On Mother's Day, we also had a program where we wanted women to light candles and thank Mother Earth, because we are all thanking our mothers and gushing over how wonderful our mothers are. But what about Mother Earth, who's been looking after us and we've
Absolutely.
been abusing her? So we had a small program where women gathered together and lit candles and thanked Mother Earth. So we have doing a lot of. Besides that, we've been bringing in, experts to talk to our women, counsel them, show them the positive side of life. And basically there's been a lot of counseling and a lot of healing and prayers that have been happening all through Laja in the past 2 months, because we realized that that was one thing very, very important for everybody. There were, at this stage, even if you get up early in the morning and listen to any mantra, it is bound to relax you, to calm you down. So that is what we have been trying to do all throughout these couple of months. And of course our usual workshops where we have been helping women scale up their businesses, because COVID meant lockdown, meant a lockdown of your businesses also. So helping women stay stable, scale up their businesses, and try and upgrade themselves so that they are ready to go hit the market running when the lockdown ends. So these kind of things is what we've been doing at Laja all through the past couple of months.
That's really, really interesting and wonderful, Vandana. But tell me something, what did you do personally? I mean, what are you doing at present constantly to keep yourself also positive? Because you have gone through a lot now, and you understood the importance of our life. Not only you, we all, I mean, including me. We used to be very bindas. Now we know the value of each life, how it is. So,
Yes,
how do you
absolutely.
keep yourself positive? Because this question, even I'm asking on my personal this thing also, that it's very difficult to keep yourself positive, do a lot of self motivation. Though we do a lot of yoga, though we do a lot of pranayamas, though we do a lot of any other things to keep our minds diverted, it's always haunting behind. So,
Oh yes.
what do you do, to constantly keep that balance?
Okay. So honestly speaking, when I did come back from the hospital, there were phases like if I would get up to go to the washroom too often in the night, I was paranoid. I would wonder, why am I doing this? Has my sugar shot up? I'm diabetic, so has my sugar shot up? Or if I was talking to having a conversation and I would end up feeling breathless, of course, which is you've gone through COVID, you will have breathlessness and you will have all of that for some time. I would pause and I would think, is it coming back? The next fear that I had was, I'm not 45 plus, so I haven't taken my vaccine as yet. I mean, and because after the COVID, I need some time. But now my next fear was, if I do take the vaccine, will I get my fever again? And will my body be able to handle that? So I went through this stage where I was completely in the dumps and completely, it was like, I was very jumpy. Any little sound would make me jump. I would look at my children in the middle of the night and wonder whether I'd be there tomorrow. So I went through all of that. and
Yeah.
um, and of course, reading so many demises, so many deaths was impacting me a lot. And then I realized that it is about me accepting my current situation and letting it bring me down, or me accepting my current situation and working towards overcoming it. And since I've been in a forum where we talk to women about overcoming their challenges, then why am I not able to do that? So what I have started doing is, I was not much into meditation and things, but I've started meditating. I've started listening to meditative chants and music. I've always been an avid reader. I've started rereading, because there are some books which have changed my life and I'm revisiting all of those books. The new thing that I've started is mandala art, and I'm not very good an artist. So I've got a book which already has mandala art. I just need to color it. So I mean, it might sound very foolish, because I mean, usually coloring books are bought by children. But I wanted that somewhere to, help me channelize that fear, that energy, all that negative energy, channelize it in some place. And believe me, it has helped me. That time, that the half an hour to 1 hour that you take to actually fill in colors within the right, corners, little the right spaces, is helping me calm myself, is helping me, bring my thoughts, which are scattered all over the place, into one channel, and it's been very, very helpful. So I would, if I have to give advice to anybody, I would say that, go back to doing what you really love, whether it is gardening, whether it is painting, something that brings you in contact with the you who you were before all of this mess happened. Only then will you something to calm you down, something to relax you. And things, creative outputs like this are absolutely relaxing.
Very true, very true. I mean, what you said is, I completely agree, because mandala art, even I feel it's very relaxing, and I do a lot of it, and I actually tell many people to do it because it's very truly relaxing. Good that you
Very much.
reminded it to many people out there. So, looking forward to your Lajjati, what kind of content are you planning to do in future, and how are you going to bring those kind of content which will involve women, not only the physical aspect, but because we are going to talk more on mental aspect, uh, because women is the most, traumatized of all the situations, because men at least move on fast, but it's for women it's very difficult to really move on because they stick on to too much of emotions. So, what are the content are you planning, especially with women, after this entire thing, when things come to a little bit betterment, when people are maybe in another 2 3 months or 4 months, or what is your plan on that? Because each one will be planning differently, right?
Yes. See, our plan, our like I said, our focus has always been on. We come with the thought that women really don't need empowerment. Women need somebody to encourage them, to support them, to acknowledge them. So, like I said, during this past couple of months, we've been focusing more on healing. We've been focusing more on, gathering your strengths and your courage, and channelizing it in the right direction. Going forth, once the lockdown ends, once COVID becomes something of history, of our past, we will look at, getting women, because women have been the most affected, whether it is you
Absolutely.
yourselves are going through COVID, or whether it is your family member going through COVID. So for us, it is like going back to square one, where we again need to get women to, accept that they themselves are worth all of this. They themselves are worth the effort that is taken. Like a L'Oreal ad says, because you're worth it, it's not just limited to a shampoo. You have to look beyond that. You are completely worth it. And because you're worth it, you need to spend some time on yourself. You need to develop yourself. You need to, come out of your shell and become who you are meant to be. We are not saying we are going to make you an Aishwarya Rai or a Shushmita Sen. We are going to, so if I'm talking to Jyoti, I'm going to say that, Jyoti, I'm going to make you Jyoti, but I'm going to help you become a better version of Jyoti. So Jyoti who's more confident, Jyoti who's more sure, Jyoti who is more well aware of what is happening around her, and more capable of dealing with whatever comes her way. So I mean, that's just an example that I'm taking. So if it is anybody, we, because this pandemic has somehow pulled women back again. We have
Absolutely.
gone to a stage where women are, overly anxious, overly worried, and overly worried about the rest of the family. Like I said, my issue itself started because I was looking after the family and not looking at myself. So it's sometimes, what do you call it? It's not an irony, it's something worse than that, when I, who preach about women having to self love, not really doing self love for myself. The fact that I had to be admitted in a hospital because my case became so serious. But if I had looked at after myself right from the beginning, I would not have reached that stage. But that is the honest truth for any woman out there. You're so worried about your family, about your parents, about your children, about your spouse, that you forget to look at yourself. You are just as susceptible and vulnerable. So accept that, acknowledge that, and work on that. So that is what we are going to continue doing for all the women who are associated with Lajja, who want to join Lajja, or who are just tagging along because of the work we do. So for women.
That's true. That's true, Vandana. It's very nice you're coming out with unique concepts. Now, when you were saying that women of today are not taking the importance of self care, that's very true. We all are like that only. But when we take self care, also, I'm just saying, we feel there is a guilt. There is always a guilt. अरे
Yes.
मैं अपने आप के बारे में सोचती हूँ. I think about myself. If I'm not thinking more for them, yeah, I'm devoting half an hour or 1 hour for yoga, and I'm not, by this time I should have cooked something delicious for them, or I should made them something, or you're not taking care of yourself. Sometimes taking care of ourselves. Matlab, if I feel like eating today palak paneer and none of the family likes it, we feel it as a kind of a guilt. That's you're saying self care is very
Yes.
important for women, but at the end of the day, we are all women, and we try, even if we try to do self care internally, we are always feeling a guilt. Array, I'm thinking only about myself.
Yes. Yes.
I'm not thinking. Why do women have this guilt? What do you feel about that?
I think this is mainly something that has been handed down to us from centuries. So I will give you an example. Where uh, uh, in the hospital, when I was shifting wards, there was a lady over there, and her husband was lying beside her, and she was in a better condition than he was. But I'm sure she must have been equally tired as him. She's also having all those medicines, but here she is cutting an apple and giving him, and then having it. And I was sitting there thinking, it's very appreciative, what you're doing, but I'm sure that he can do that too. you know so it is because of the kind of homes that we come from homes where the mother has always been self-sacrificing. The mother has always thought of the family. So in my family, I make it a point, where if women serve the men first, and then once the men are finished eating, then the women sit. And I wanted to change that this doesn't
Yes.
work like that. If I have worked hard to make whatever I have made, I think it is my right to sit with everybody and enjoy it as a family. So whether if there's no space on the table, let's sit on the sofa or sit on the ground, but let's have a meal together. And I think this guilt that you're talking about is something that women need to give up, because the guilt is only going to pull you down. The guilt is only going to make you feel worse about, bad about something. So like you said, palak paneer, yes, if you like palak paneer, you should go ahead and make it. If nobody else likes it, so much better for me, because there's so much for me to eat. Similarly, if there are, like, when I came back from the hospital, everybody used to tell me, you go for home cooked food, you must start eating healthy. But I couldn't start eating health as in home cooked food, because I couldn't stand in the kitchen that long. Even
Absolutely.
making tea, even making tea seemed like such a big task. So I think for the 2 weeks that we were back, I was back from hospital. We only ordered food from outside. Yes, we ordered food from places that we knew were reliable. We have seen the kitchens or the eateries, and we know that they're good. So we were ordering from there. But I my whenever anybody would ask me that, why you buying from outside, why can't you cook khichdi banalo? Yes, khichdi banalo, but that khichdi banana itself is such a big deal. I
Oh,
can't do
yeah,
it.
very true.
So I'm not
Very
going to feel guilty about ordering from outside, because honestly, I couldn't stand in the kitchen. So, and keeping that guilt, if that guilt held me, I don't think I would be sitting here having this conversation with you, because I would probably be back in bed. you know,
for the
because
tiredness. Very true.
yeah, because I would be tired. I wouldn't have recovered. So guilt
No,
is something we have to throw away. We have to throw away. Only then, like I told you, we at Lajja, we have come back to square one, because even when we started off, getting women to accept, give us 15 minutes or half an hour in a day to work on yourself was like, अरे मगर वो टाइम पे ना चाय बनाना होता है, या वो टाइम पे मेरे को मार्केट जाना होता है. You go to the market, nobody is stopping you, but you leave half an hour early. Come to us, sit with us. We will give you 15 minutes to half an hour of pep talk, and you can go to the market. You will see the difference in yourself. So now
very
the pandemic has caused us to step back once again. We are again dealing with women who are going to wonder whether they can leave their family for 1 hour, half an hour, whether their children can do without them for half an hour. You just need to experiment. Leave your children, don't do anything with your children for half an hour to 1 hour. they will happily play without noticing that you're not doing, not sitting with them. It's just about
That's
that. Teach
and,
teach your children that if they are hungry, they can go to the kitchen and take a slice of bread and put butter on it.
and
It's no big
correct.
deal. My
Not big.
7-year-old child has been taught to do that. Do it. You're hungry. Mama can't always get up and come for you. You do it yourself.
That's true,
Small
Vandana.
things.
Unfortunately, sorry to halt you here because I was just relating to something. When you said, we tell your kids to go and have a bread and take it and no, do that, no. When we were kids, I remember. I'm also almost your age, so when I was a kid, I used to. My parents never used to say, "Arey ye kha lo," nothing. You come from school, eat rice, and you go to tuition or go and play. Now I
Absolutely.
think as parents we are just over parenting. I think that is
Yes.
also causing a lot of chaos for the women and also for the parent, whoever men or women. That we are doing over parenting, matlab we are making them too too closely watching them. They eat this much, eat this, eat that. So, I think that's also an issue. I think nowadays kids are
Yes.
completely
Yes.
dependent on us. Unfortunately, for even a small thing like going to the kitchen and picking up a glass of water is also becoming very difficult.
Absolutely. This also comes from the same problem that we think that both husband and wife are working, so we are earning so much. We want to give our children a life that was much better than ours. And when we think of a life much better than ours, then my remembrance would be that when I was 5 years old, my dad had promised me a cycle, but he didn't get me a cycle. And then when I was 10 years old, he gave me a second hand cycle. I don't want to give my child a second hand cycle. But if you look at it, if you really sit and think about it, my father, if he gave me a second hand cycle at the age of 10, he too saved for that cycle. And at 5, he did not give it to me because he knew that I was not capable enough of looking after it. So he had a reason for not doing or doing whatever he did. So but me, in my over eagerness of wanting to give my children, provide for my children and give them the best of what I can, I'm actually making them, I shouldn't be using this word, but I'm actually making them useless. They are not equipped to deal with the world. So if tomorrow, I have heard this very often where, people come and tell me that, my child, he doesn't know how to serve himself. And I remember once one lady came and told me this, and I gauged her age to be in her 50s or so. So I asked her, how old is your son? So she said, he's 17 years old. I said, at 17, if he doesn't know how much rice he has to eat, when will he learn? So you have done a terrible job. So she looked at me shocked. I said, see, it is as simple as that. We are trying to give our children the best, but that also includes the thinking ability. If I can give them all the physical luxuries, I also need to make sure that my children are equipped to deal with an emergency or a situation by themselves. And if I haven't done that, if I have not been able to do that, then I have failed as a parent.
Very true.
No, So,
Very
so,
true.
so, so this thing of, if my 7-year-old comes to me and says, "Amma, I'm hungry," all I tell her is, please go to the kitchen. You can either, there are dabbas of biscuits or whatever, or there is some rice left, or whatever you want is there in the kitchen. If there is anything specific that you want, then yes, Amma has to come. But otherwise, I think if you can just go pick up any fruit in the kitchen. But I'm not going to go to the kitchen and take that banana and give it to her, or take that bread and put butter and give it to her. She needs to do it herself.
That's true. Because that's what
So
you say is perfectly true, Vandana. I think we should do another show especially on parenting specifically because I find today's parents are, the wrong way of doing parenting. Even I think the old type of parenting is the best thing, even if you look at a child with a serious face, it becomes a big issue nowadays. We used to get beaten also. I think, I think that's the reason at least we are stronger and we know what is good, what is bad. Now tomorrow they'll be very emotionally failed and we are the reason for it.
we have the reason
That's
for it.
very
Absolutely. And this,
definitely.
I'm speaking in my capacity as a parent. I'm sure if you talk to, child specialists or child psychologists, you will get an in-depth analysis of this. I would actually call it a syndrome, this over-parenting syndrome, where you want to do everything for your child. But at the same time, you're actually making your child so dependent on you that you're making your child worthless for a society when they are out there to face it. Will your child be able to deal with things which comes its way? Question
We
yourself.
don't know. We really don't know how many more pandemics are going to come, how many more situations are going to come. So they should be strong enough to, much more strong enough to face things like more than us.
Absolutely.
That's very
Absolutely.
wonderful, Vandana. So it was a wonderful conversation. I didn't even realize that we spoke for almost 40 minutes now.
Oh,
It was
wow, that
like
was nice.
a yeah, people are saying
Lovely.
very good conversation. Vandana ma'am, welcome to see you. Great. Good evening, ma'am. Yes, so people who are watching there, just wishing you all. And
Thank you so
thank you,
much.
Vandana.
Thank
It was
you.
great having you on my show, and I look forward for more good content for Najja TV, and I will link all the details in this. And all the best and take care.
Thank you. Thank you so much. All the best to you too. You are also doing wonderful conversations, and looking forward to more from you.
Yeah. We'll do. We'll catch up with another interesting topic, and
Lovely.
I'm sure we are going to have wonderful conversations again. Thank you so much,
Thank you.
Vandana.
It will
Take
be my
care.
pleasure.
Bye.
You take care too. Bye bye.